What's up, everybody? It's Benji Sinos. We got disconnected, so I'm gonna give bro the call, and we gonna do it like that. All right, let's do this. Hello, you a lot. You're live with Benji Sinos. How you doing? Who is this?
SasoDolo.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
All right, and how can I help you today?
The question is, how can I help you?
Not ask
Huh?
what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. But okay, so I'll jump right back into this. I asked my uncle the same question yesterday. He had a pretty insightful answer. The 4x1 relay analogy for the past meeting the future. How do you feel about that?
Past meeting the future?
Yeah.
If I had to answer that, technically, that's a paradigm, if I'm not mistaken. But that's something that we have going on today in the world. We got the old school and the new school.
So where does the 4x100 relay come into? Where do you think I got that from?
That's a good question. I really don't know. I would say the older school, but that's a good question. I don't know. Where did you get it from?
All right. So the idea is, excuse me. I always looked at my life in like quarters of 25, right? So I'm in the second quarter of my life, and so it's like, but it's not about climbing stairs. It's about, well, in our business, it's not about climbing stairs. It's about lasting laps. You know what I'm saying? It's about how long can you do this? How well can you do it, and how long can you do it? And so it's kind of like the past meeting the future. You start the finish line, and then you try to finish. So, but like, you recognize the finish line as you go through each lap. So you might, I had explained something. This one dude, this young guy, he was like, he knew me from, like other stuff, but he didn't know like how much I knew in the music stuff. And so he was like, "Hey Benji, this and that." And he was like, you leaning on a relationship right now, blah 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 blah." I'm like, "No, no, no, no. That's the optics that you don't recognize what you haven't seen. Like the guy that's I'm in the car with is one of my artists that I met 5 years ago, and I paid for every single thing for the last 5 years. So yeah, you might say that I rely on my relationships, but I help build and establish the relationships, and they help build and establish my situation. So the dude, I was like, I respectfully told him, I'm like, we're in the same place, but we're on a different lap. So like, I was like, don't get confused with being in the same room with being on the same level. So I was like, so that's basically the analogy I came up with. It's like the 4x100. It's about how many laps can you last, and it's not about climbing or anything like that. It's about just endurance. You know what I'm saying? Maintenance and endurance.
Yeah.
And so stay with me now. I'm about to bust your head. All right.
All right.
All right. So I'm gonna break down Young Boy versus Benji. I said, don't laugh. This is my last year on Spotify. No promotion. Blank. I was like, imagine if 10 people shared my music once. Like under 15 people I know, this and that. I was like, uh, Vito shared my music, Miles shared my music, Jamaica shared my music, Cap shared my music, C Minor shared my music, Lou shared my music, DZ shared my music. Alton shared my music. Patch, my ex's little brother, shout out you, Patch. He like got my Chicago YouTube kind of going. I put Dolo, I put Jay Leon, James Khalif, and I put my ex. Like she helped me with my Apple Music in Chicago. And so like I had a buzz, but like she put a face to the name kind of thing. And so I was talking about back to the other thing, it was like the women know exactly what time we both on when she gets where she's at. Like dudes, but other dudes, they'll play coy and they'll end up on the date, and then like they'll have like her walk home or get a ride if she says no to something that he wants. Like, or if she just went over to dude's house, there was no date, uh, type of shit. And like I've actually heard stories from women like that say out of their mouth that like they had to fuck just to get home. Like they had to leave, they had to fuck just to leave type of shit. So how you feel about that kind of goofy shit? Two different folds of the story, but I literally heard that, bro, out of like a couple girls' mouths. We were at this little kickback, and they said that, and I was like, "What do you mean?" And she's like, "Yeah, like." She looked over to her cousin. She's like, "Yeah, she knows what I mean." And like they both kind of explained it, but I was still kind of like, "That's rape. That's not like if you,
That's not right.
you know what I'm saying?" Like, and they see it. So that's what I'm saying. Like the whole city girl versus suburb girl. Suburb girl's like, "I'm gonna call my dad. All right, dad's not there. I'm gonna call Uber. Or I don't have Uber. All right, my dad's gonna call me an Uber. You know what I'm saying?" Versus the girl with no figure like that or no means like that, she'll be like, all right, fuck, like, how do I get home? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's bogus, bro. That shit, that's like a horror story, bro. That's real life. That real life happens, bro. But back to the young boy versus Benji thing. I said until I put out the Tory Lanez feature, my oldest brother wouldn't even comment on my music. These dudes in my city got me banned from Twitter. And the thing is, like Twitter, I knew the number 2 social media influencer in the world, a guy named Nate. Like it's Gary V, and then it's Nate. And so like, I stopped talking to him. I didn't have his number. I just talked to him on the Twitter, on the DMs. That fucked that up. I can't even get on that. I had a production situation with the Street Runners and Fat Joe. Like obviously Fat Joe's Fat Joe, but the Street Runners, if you don't know, they were ones like making the beats for Fat Joe and them, the Terror Squad. So I was like, damn, that's fucked up. Lost mad contacts, but then I end up talking to like the Joe Budden people, Joe Budden's manager, and then Hovain, Ice and Ish's manager and shit. And so it's like people say that he's blackballed, but like I'm gonna unpack this for you, right? Lear Cohen, Def Jam executive with Russell Simmons back in the day. Lear Cohen sold his share of Def Jam and then started 300 Entertainment. He's also the YouTube president. He's the executive of YouTube. So my OMB Peasy feature that I bought from a digital marketer, like in the shadows of the business, he showed me how my publishing deal with 300 would work. They give you like 50 to 60K outright, and then they take home, like you take that home that day, and then they just catalog your song because they had the artist from their label, they want it on their catalog. So they'll give you the money up front, and then they'll give you like a budget to do the marketing and shit, and they'll put you in their machine. So then they provide a buyout to like they get you on front page of Apple Music, front page of Spotify, playlisting, all that shit. And then like the dude was like, "This gonna be your first million stream song in a week." I was like, "All right, cool." Blah 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 blah. And then so think about that. If you own YouTube, who are you gonna put? And you own a record label, what artists are you gonna put on the front page of YouTube? Young Boy. And then who's not gonna get a dollar from it because they didn't bring a dollar to it? Young Boy. But who's also gonna benefit like mutually, like symbiotically, not just like parasitically? You and Young Boy. They both do. So it's like, all right. So on top of Leo putting him on every page and on every front page of everything, he signed to Atlantic, which Atlantic has a rich history of cooking the public opinion. Like, and then also it's like the machine. The machine is not you, it's the machine that they can create. So we'll give you this 360. You know, you have nothing, so you owe us everything back plus what we made you. And now you're rich and famous, and you can recoup and negotiate based off the growth and projections at a proportion. So like then obviously you get 0% still from YouTube because you brought 0% to YouTube. But like, let's say you get 20% of all the money you make. So we're gonna keep that 20% the same. It's just instead of 5 million, instead of 400,000 out of the 5 million, now you'll get 60 million out of the whatever 700 million type of shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so it's like that made them the biggest thing on YouTube. But just so they kept the production quality and all that other stuff. And also, if you're thinking about it from a hustler standpoint, you can do what Dirk did, and you can make your camera guy famous. Like that Jerry filmed it. You know what I'm saying? So now it's
Right,
50.
true
It's
film.
yeah, it's 50,000 for a video just because the guy I was rocking with blew up, and he's rocking with me. So now I have like more equipment, more camera people, more angles, more shots, uh, more effects, more like software to put the effects in. You know what I'm saying? More transitions. We can go to different cities, get different angles. Like that little baby, close friends. That shit was hard when he shot that shit in Paris. That shit was hard. So it's like you can build your team around you to everybody gets value versus like never having the platform. And back to what we said to start with, the independent, like the all the way independent, like Tech Nine route. And so, like, what I learned from him in this instant is that the government will interrupt black progress. Understand that we are the scum of the world to most of the world. Like the feds raided Murder Inc. All it took was a picture to get a Rigo case. And I say that to say this: Dame Dash invented his own iPod before the iPod. Like you can look it up. It was Dame, Jay Prince, Irv Gotti, Puff, Dr. Dre. They were all on the same page to make their own Apple Music before it existed. The patent and trademark was blocked. The IP was stolen, and then they licensed it and it came to market after they beat the Fed case. So they froze the assets long enough for Jimmy Iovine and Interscope and Apple Music to license the Apple Music patent software technology, get the relationship going, and then that product out before the case was over with. So it's kind of like, yeah, it's your idea, but you can't spend $1 on it. And we have the idea now, and it's out to market. And we're gonna put Chief Keef to be the first person on Apple Music instead of Chance. That old coloring book deal, it was gonna be only Chief Keef. But then he missed the meeting, he missed the music video, and that's when they got like his house repoed or he got kicked out of his house, taking his cars away, all that shit, because he missed like the huge moment in music. You see what I'm saying? Now, it wasn't just like to get back at him. It was like, damn, we had a whole plan. We broke all these rules, and then you fucked it up at the very end because you're unreliable. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, long story short, they stalled the cash flow, froze the assets, and by the time they beat the feds, the product was invented, it was already on the shelves in everybody's homes. So, like, how did Jay and Dr. Dre become the only billionaires out of the group? I can't answer that now, but it's definitely on my mind. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if all those people were in the situation, how come only 2 out of the 6 of them got invited to the white people meeting? Which goes back to the slavery situation. They didn't just go to the mainland; they had black people, Africans, point out where everybody was at. They sold them out. So it kind of made me think, how did Jay and Dre become the only billionaires out the group? You know what I'm saying? And they have the most industry ties. So it's like, who said something to somebody behind the scenes? That's where my angle is. Kind of a lot to digest, but what you think about it?
Mm, exactly. Which point do you want me to speak on? Shit.
Everything, bro. I just wanted to spit that out, and then I'll keep going. I got mad shit to talk about this. I wanted to just stop myself, let you ad lib, and I wanted to keep going. I got screenshots. I'm gonna put them all up on the video and shit when I edit it. But I got like it gets deep, bro. It gets deep.
It's fucked up. It's just fucked up.
Think about you tell me about an idea, and then I send the feds on you to freeze everything, and then I go make the idea, and then you beat the case. You part of the 2% of the world in the history of the world that beat the feds because you knew you was innocent the whole time. They just wanted to stall up your product.
That's what I'm saying. It's fucked.
It's mad bogus.
Because you got to realize how much money you would have made off of that if that didn't happen.
Bro, you made the iPad before the iPad or the iPod? And you can get on
Apple
YouTube. Like
Music
Dame Dash has
before
like
Apple Music.
he took out commercials and shit for his product. That's where Kanye got the music thing. Dame is his like mentor. And Kanye chose Dame whenever over Jay. That's why the Jay-Z when they broke up, Kanye stayed with Jay. He didn't go with like Beanie and you know what I'm saying? And Jay. So that's kind of fucked up. Yeah. So then back to the whole thing. Talking about black privilege. I said fuck a white privilege. Read Charlemagne's book called Black Privilege. It's funny that the same old white dude trying to beat you off the four-way stop sign gonna floor it into the intersection and get slammed by a random white guy that didn't even stop at the stop sign trying to be first. Because they don't ever look forward. They always look at you when they try and cut you off and they keep driving. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yes, say you on their left, they'll go to the stop sign, the four-way stop, and not even look right or straight. They'll just look at you to make sure that you don't try and hit them. You know what I'm saying?
I get you.
So I was thinking it was kind of funny, and I was like, uh, let them live in their arrogance. The fight always happens. I was like, winning, losing. Some people are winning, some people are losing. Some people don't even know they're losing. I was like, let them live in their arrogance. The fighter that doesn't train underestimates his opponent and often loses. Then I was like, the academics of Young Boy Live, uh, they were saying, proving my point earlier about him being the opposite of blackballed. He's being supported by fans who waited outside the courtroom. And I was like, that they could be real fans or they could be casted by the agency. You know what I'm saying? And then we talked about it, and I showed this little ad. It said, casting talent for a music video for 3 major hip hop artists, all ethnicities welcome, pays $400 a project, shooting dates May 9th and 10th. And so it's like, kind of like the smoke and mirrors approach, where it's like, he is okay. So like, the average person gets taxed before they get the money, right? The millionaire and billionaire has like a year or two to pay off the taxes because you still got to look like the billionaire and millionaire for everybody else that's backing you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like you get the leniency if you beat the feds and no one cares about it. Nobody's outside painting pictures, and all that. Are you really even like newsworthy? You know what I'm saying? Versus we gonna make sure that the optics are right. We're gonna have Floyd Mayweather there. We're gonna make sure that a whole bunch of people are like outside ready to go. They probably paid him $400 for the day and was like, go celebrate when he walks out. You know what I'm saying? Because that first day out, freestyle is priceless. That first day out, interview is priceless. You know what I'm saying? That little, you know what I'm saying? And so back to like just my own casting experiences, it says I remember I was like 19, 20, 21. And there's a show called there used to be like a show on MTV called or VH1, whatever. Are You the One? Right? It's like Are You the One? It's like a dating show or whatever, reality show. And they actually like invited me to be on it, but I kind of got invited through somebody else. There was these girls that I knew and they wanted me to go to this mansion party. And so I had a girlfriend out of town at the time, so I didn't go. But it turns out that mansion party they invited me to, that was the night that they were filming, right? So they picked 1, 2, 3, 4 events and actually move forward with like based off the feel of the night, the thing, but it could have been on national TV forever. And so I was like, damn, like I'm glad I didn't, you know what I'm saying, dampen my brain and value just to entertain these people. And then I end up losing. They see me on TV because she turned out to watch that TV show. I never even heard the show before in my life. But my ex, she actually watched that. So imagine if I'm with the girls I always tell her not to worry about on national TV at a party. You know what I'm saying? It all would be bad. And so I was like, the higher value the brand, the less pay you get. Like the 4 or 5 figure projects on like TV are always like random. Like one of the things was like a cruise dinner. You know what I'm saying? Like who wants to do that? But they paid $6,000 for the week. Versus this Nickelodeon deal I'm looking at. It says new casting talent for upcoming Nickelodeon feature film, 135 a day. They're like, no, we're gonna put you on the main platform, so we're not gonna pay you a lot. Versus we're gonna put you on this bogus platform and pay you everything. You know what I'm saying? And so if you promote good, you are in essence good. If you endorse evil, you are in essence evil. How do you feel about that?
Say that one more time.
If you promote good, you are in essence good. If you endorse evil, you are in essence evil.
Oh yeah, I completely agree with that.
All right, go on. What you mean?
Like promoting good,
your first thought's gonna get you through the first layer, but then your awareness and your intuition is gonna realize that there's more to my question.
There is more. That's what. That's why I said, ah, fuck. Never mind. There's another layer to that question. Ah, I don't agree. The reason being is you can be evil and still promote something that's good.
The question is, can you be evil and good? That's the first question. Can you be evil and good?
Everybody has polarity.
So
And
I
it's
disagree.
just
I
what you
disagree.
use.
I don't think everybody has polarity. I think everybody has ambiguity to where they don't have enough overt actions to identify and classify them. So they have ambiguous like personality traits where like, oh well, he's rough, but he's not rough with me. Bitch, one day he's gonna get rough with you. You know what I'm saying? Like for me, from my experience, like whenever like the girls I dated before like the recent girls, I never even would raise my voice. We never even fight. Like the only time we would fight is if like one of us wasn't free or if I wasn't free. Basically, it wasn't even the other one. The other one was always free. It's always like, what do you want to do? I had to work or like just wanted to hang out with the guys. And I realized like that's kind of natural. But like when a girl does that to you, that's when it becomes toxic because it's like she weighing out her options of entertainment. Versus that's why the whole like the pair bonding. If you got fucked by a whole bunch of dudes, you're not gonna be able to make a relationship. You're not gonna be able to pair with your new partner because you're gonna have 8, 9 different dicks you like comparing it to. You know what I'm saying? Not even dicks, just like, oh, his car was like this. His dates were like this. His vacations were like this. This like my ex, I was the first introduction to quality in her life. No one took her on dates, no one took her on trips. She never left the city. Blah 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 blah. So I'm sitting here like I knew she was a hater though. Like she just didn't like me anymore. Like I think I might have told you this already, but I'm gonna tell the pod. I went back on her first, like I went back on her original Instagram post like a long time ago. She was at a car show with her dad, posing by the car that I pulled up in on our first date. I was like, "Damn, my car is your dream car." You know what I'm saying? And then she would like talk shit about it, this and that. I'm like, "You just trying to get at me? You trying to like humble me instead of like build me up?" You know what I'm saying? I don't need that. I need like a cheerleader. I need a support system because I'm your motherfucking protector. Like when it's time to flip the script, I'm on all of that. So I need you to be on all of that. Like so yeah, bro. I don't think you can be evil and good. I think my example I was going to use to counter whatever you said was Pablo Escobar built churches and schools and houses for everybody, but that was a front to do his evil. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't because oh I feel bad about this. It's like no, this will help operations expand. This will appease the people so they'll leave us alone, so we can go make this cocaine in the jungle. You know what I'm saying? So it's not, or it's like I'm gonna give out money, but if like you owe me, I'm not gonna hold it over your head. I'm gonna just write it off and be like, you keep that because you obviously need it. So there's no like extortion, there's no evil and there's no good. There is no mix. They're opposites. And people can't treat them like they aren't like they have to be opposites. They have to be the opposition. They have to be resistance and enemies. They cannot be at the same table together because you go against everything I go against. And if I'm really pure hearted, I have to then be aggressive towards my opposition. I can't be passive just because I'm good and well rounded and centered doesn't mean that and virtuous doesn't mean that I'm passive and I'm pussy. Matter of fact, opposite. Like I'll go on a crusade for my belief. We'll get rid of your whole situation because I believe that strongly in my good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but then you go into that and you look at viewpoints. Somebody who's you might look at that like that whole crusade. They might look at it as a bad thing. They might look at you like you're evil.
I know, but then again, though, I use that example on purpose because then you recognize two different sides of the story. I don't care if I'm really rooted in my central beliefs. I don't care if it offends you. Like that's where the whole I don't try to evangelize because I know like as a Catholic you're supposed to like spread the Catholic belief and you're supposed to try and change people and convert people. So I don't do all that, but I don't let you try and tell me I'm wrong. Like I'm not gonna tell you wrong, but I'm not gonna let you tell me I'm wrong. Like I stand on my belief, and if it comes tension or it comes to pressure, then you have to be able to do that. Like you can't just be like, oh okay cool, because then you invite the evil in your world. Like imagine if you was getting the mail and from the mailbox after a long day of work and you see somebody trying to break in your front door. You're not gonna meet them inside and try and talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Like You feel me?
I feel you.
So then back to this. I use that to piggyback. Like I told you, the first layer is like the smoke screen. The second layer, third layer is like the actual emotion, reality, and spirituality. So like I use that what I just said to parallel my next point. Overseers and police. Overseers only came around after slavery was ended. It's technically not ended. We have like because it was an amendment. Our freedom was an amendment, which means they had to vote on it. It's not like concrete. It's not like part of the Constitution. It's like no, we changed this part of it based on this part because still there's slave labor based off like life sentences and death row and shit like that, in like Louisiana and southern states and shit like that. There's still slave labor, like breaking rocks and shit. What? Nigga, if you don't just take me to my motherfucking cell or to the yard, or no, bro, I'm not about to break these rocks in this chain gang, but some people gotta do that shit every day. In 2022, some people gotta do that shit. Break rocks with a hammer. Not for money though. Like for money, that's a hustle. They make a lot of money. But like just because you owe the state, nah, fuck that. Why isn't that universal? You know what I'm saying? Why is that only in like historically segregated states? Because they don't see the value of your skin color. They don't see the value of your humanity. It's like, yeah, you human, but get it. You know what I'm saying? All right. And it says most corrupt system in our system is to protect the community from the corruption in the community. The most corrupt system in our system is to protect the community from the corruption in the community. Break that down. You good? You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
You hear what I said?
Thinking about this topic subject.
Yeah. I said the most corrupt system in our system is to protect the community from the corruption of the community.
Yeah, but it's like, how the fuck do you do that
Well, okay, like I saw a tweet or I saw a Snapchat post from this chick. She's like, as a past liar and manipulator, I know when you're trying to lie and manipulate to me. So it's kind of like if you recognize good and evil, you can recognize good and evil. So if you see some shit going on, like yeah, the I'm talking about the police. So it's like the most corrupt system, our police, is the system to protect the community from the corruption in the community. So like the people that are supposed to stop the crime from happening are the most crooked, are the most crooked and lost and confused people in the community they trying to protect and serve. But it's systematic. That's what I'm trying to get at. So it's kind of like, huh?
I said the whole thing.
Yeah, but it's like,
It's the system.
but it also goes back to that sheep versus shepherd mentality. The community pretty much runs itself based off of the social norms. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then if you put institutionalized norms and requirements from the society, most people would rather just go without than get in trouble. Like a lot of people only don't smoke weed because it's illegal, not because it's not good for you or it's unhealthy or da, da, da. They just don't want to get in trouble. You know what I'm saying? That's why you realize when like the decriminalization and like of marijuana in most big cities like Chicago, people in the dispensary are like mid-20s to like 40s, 50s. They're not like young people. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, this shit is finally legal. I cannot get in trouble with it. They don't smoke in the car. They probably just smoke after their shift or smoke at the end of their day. You know what I'm saying? But they've been wanting to smoke for 20 years. And so it's like officers have a certain level of IQ. If they're too smart, they get kicked out. Like you can't become a police officer if you have a certain level of independent thinking. See the movie The Departed, Leonardo. He goes, "You're a fucking astronaut. You're not a cop. Government govern the mental, govern the mind. You can't think independently if you're in an establishment or an institution. An independent thinker as a firefighter, you don't play ball, you don't get with the system. Now you're burnt up in the next house, or you're burnt up in your house. You know what I'm saying? And so like my thing is the way I would just wrap this up And the way I would just kind of end my or start my stance against the social reform and political reform, and I would defund the police, and I would just have private investigators with no badge, no identity, no gun, no nothing. All right, you want to, like, what did Money Man say? He said, Fed throwing snitches at us. We just call them secret shoppers. Tell my partners tighten up. You know what I'm saying? Like, so then it's up to the criminals to do higher level criminal activity and less overt violence. You know what I'm saying? If the sting isn't a sting, it turns out to be a sting operation. There might be a shootout in the house. There's not going to be a shootout outside. You know what I'm saying? Or they might have a sting bust to where we get you before you even have a chance to let something off. And so it's like if they had actual intelligence, because they have intelligence, they have the whole block monitored, they have patterns, volume, traffic patterns, faces, identities, they have all that going in and out of traffic. You know what I'm saying? But it's like they'd rather have a casualty in a cause versus just stopping it from happening. You know what I'm saying? Because think about it, they just had a whole bunch of private investigators and they had no visual police. That'd be a bigger deterrent than be like, okay, that's the one police on this block. We can go do some shit 2 blocks away. You stay here and let me know when he leaves. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you didn't know where anybody was, you'd probably think twice about doing some shit. Or you didn't know who anybody was, you'd probably think twice about doing some shit. Versus people in the uniform with a gun and a badge looking like they're military, but they really just police. And they get this little tough guy persona because they used to shooting at people who aren't armed or prepared or trained to shoot back at them. Versus the military, they know it's up when they get over there, and the other people know it's up when they get there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's why the military, I respect them. I don't even respect the police at all. I respect the military because it's like you know what you're getting into when you sign up. The police is like 98% of the police officers don't even discharge their firearm, and the 2% that do have like multiple cases of discharging their firearm. It's only a few people. You know what I'm saying?
That's why, like, us military members who we join, we already know.
Though my hair getting long than a bitch.
Like how you just said, us military members already know. So if we already know, and we know, like, it's just so fucking stupid. It's fucking retarded. I don't even like talking about this shit like that. That shit makes me mad. Because I'm like, what am I protecting? What am I protecting when
I call it white space. You're protecting the order of operations. Right? I'm like a math science guy. So scientific method and then order of operations.
I know that much, but like I'm not protecting.
You are. You just got half the manual. Like Dave Chappelle had a good saying about like the white women that are complaining about injustice. They're like, you were in on the robbery, you just don't like your cut. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you signed up for this, and they told you after you signed, there's a back page. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like order operations isn't finance or business. It's just what do you protect? You're protecting the way of life. Like the people in the North that are like, oh, they wear Confederate clothes, Confederate flags. Like, oh, I protect my heritage. It's like you live in the North. Like, that is not your heritage. Your heritage, that's not your heritage. You're just racist. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like you got to protect the system of operations, the order of operations, the way things are, the public status quo. You know what I'm saying? Because if we really wanted to have like the best country that we could, the utopia that we could have, we would put National Guard in place of the fucking police. It wouldn't be no investigation. It would be response. Response and dispatch. That would create mad jobs. That have a public visibility and have a no fuck around kind of vibe where it's like we can't even fuck around. You know what I'm saying? Like I saw this YouTube video. This dude is like flexing gone wrong. This dude was walking out the store with like bags. His buddy was like videotaping him, carrying a whole bunch of bags out. But then for some reason he dropped the bags and pulled a gun out of his waist and started like flashing it at the camera. And then literally like a couple seconds later, you just see mad military people and police just like run up on him like, hey, put the gun down, da, da, da. Now he's getting arrested. The videographer They had a camera of the person videotaping the guy. So it's like a camera of a camera, and they showed the whole scene like unplay. It's like, bro, like for what? You did all that for what? But is notice how like the military moved in and disarmed. They didn't just shoot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get you.
So I'm saying the military needs to, because I think about the essence of the military is to protect the free world. So start at home.
This is still fucking stupid. like at the end of the day, when you really hard down, really think about it, it's really stupid.
As a military vet yourself, why do you say that?
Because you're not protecting the people, you're protecting the system.
But think about it this way: if the system was set up to where it was, because originally the military, you protect your post, right? You protect the person next to you, and you protect your post.
The military, you protecting the post, but if the post, like what you just said with the system,
if the post is the president in all communities, it's not represented the same.
yeah, but if the system was to change and the system was to protect the people, then things fall like that.
Imagine this. Imagine if there was a little guard post on like every other intersection with a armed guard on duty in a little hut, like a telephone booth, like Craig and Day Day. You know what I'm saying? Something like that. Imagine if there was one of those on every other corner. How much you think? How much crime you think would be going on?
Say that one more time.
If there was like a little telephone booth like Craig and Day Day and next Friday after next, if there was one of those military people in every one of those booths on every other block, there would be no crime.
I was about to say there'll be no crime.
But the problem is you got to think about America though. So that's the utopia. But America will put it like, okay, there's water parks on the rich side, there's no water parks on the poor side. So we'll put the military post every other block or every block on the rich side, but we'll put one every 10 blocks on the poor. Like they would eventually fuck it up like that. I already know.
You'll fuck it up. That's what I said. It'll be fucked up. It wouldn't run properly because you already know how that shit works. They're gonna set it a certain way so it works with the rich neighborhoods, and then with the poor neighborhoods, the shit doesn't fucking work properly. And then you have people importing shit that's part of the system into these poor neighborhoods.
Guns and drugs on the trains. Yeah. So it's like, but I'm saying though, that's why I would say a federal, not state municipal, because the state can determine certain things. But if it's a federal ordinance, then all right, cool. The government will be recruiting or we'll be doing a draft. And if the draft, you have to do 2-3 days out the week at that guard post, regardless of your skill set, your ambition, your life path. Every male over 18 will have to serve 2-3 days on the guard post for 8 hours. That would change the whole culture of the country, the whole alignment of our interests and ambitions, and we'd have at least the first thing secure. Because there's no point in having the most billionaires in the country, having the most resources in the world, and then having some invader take over everything.
That wouldn't make any sense.
But that's what we're doing. We're focusing on entertainment instead of defense and technology.
Yeah, but when you really think about it, the whole United States right now is surrounded by China and Russia.
On purpose. And like back to the Andrew Tate thing.
It's on purpose.
Back to the Andrew Tate thing. Well, first of all, law of power is the first law of war is siege. But then so they're just positioning themselves for the siege. So then but then also it's like the Andrew Tate thing, the mentality is different.
But if you already know the agenda, you already know these things being put in place. That's why like, and my past Instagram accounts. That's why this shit got hacked into and deleted.
We back on
I
live.
already know who hacked my shit.
We back on YouTube. But yeah, bro, back to the Andrew Tate thing. The Eastern civilization isn't putting women in power. They're not, because think about it. If you're really, but talk about it. Let me get this out. Let me get this out first, though. Let me get this out. If I'm in control, right, I need to find my opposite, right, to pick up my weaknesses. I'll use my strengths and I'll find my opposite to pick up my weaknesses. So if I'm the man that needs to establish order, that means I need to find a woman that has empathy and will like, no, stop the beating. Don't kill him. Just put him in a cell. Some sort of sympathy and empathy, versus the dude, my other partner,
if I get a cigarette off of you? Huh?
So like my partner.
Okay. Cause I was a cat. No, I got a light in my pocket. This vape went out. That's why I had. Appreciate it. Nah, bro, but that subject is aggravating. Like, you got people that know about it and know what's going on, but ain't nobody trying to fucking fix this shit.
Well, it starts with conversation.
I'll take that back. It ain't that nobody's not trying to. There's certain individuals that's trying to fix it.
But there's a plan. There's a 100-year plan that's going against. We have to have The first step is conversation.
Their plan has been going on for decades. It's not something that's just been made. It's been put in place.
Yeah, it's being implemented. But the thing is, though, like I said, the first step is conversation, because then you promote that you are aware of the subject. You're aware of what's going on if you have conversation. And then you have your network, and you make your action. And then you carry out your action. Then you repeat. But if you don't have the conversation, then at least somebody's like, if somebody starts talking to you in Spanish, this bad little Spanish chick starts talking to you in Spanish, and you know Spanish, and you say something back, cool, we can speak this language. But if she says something to you and you don't say nothing back, she's not gonna spend another second trying to communicate with you.
All right. Well, let's talk about the Russia and China situation. If we already know that Russia and China is around the border, not even the borders, around the whole Pacific, Cali, all the borders around all America right now.
Cuba.
I already know what's about to happen next.
Cuba.
EMP. Huh?
Cuba.
Cuba too. They're right. They're like right there where South America and North America is. They're right there for both borders.
And don't think Mexico is gonna take our side after 200, 300 years of shitting on them. Don't think Mexico just playing their part. Mexico gonna jump in right when we get down. They're gonna step on us.
Mexico's already on our side.
No, they're not. So, they're not on our side. They might seem like they're on our side, but they're not about to be on our side. Think about it. When their ancestors called them to help fight America, they answering that call. We've been shitting on them for 200, 300 years, right? They not even from.
Talking about the people in general. It's going to be the people versus the system. It's not going to be. If you really think about it, if Russia and China was to invade us right here on our own land, it's going to be the people versus the system.
But Mexico's not helping us. That's what I'm saying. Like, the people of Mexico don't like America. They've been shitted on the whole time. So you think the friend of my enemy is my friend. The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
I can go across the street and get one for you. 22. I don't. How old I look? That's tough. I had a lady the other day told me I was fucking 14. I'm like, how the fuck do I look like my voice? I can make my voice deep.
Hey, tell her about your song. Since we talking about your voice, you better promote your song.
I make music too. Yeah. All types of music. Game. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I ain't got nothing. Okay. All right. No problem. You want 2 packs or just one? Nah, I get it. You want? Nah, but that whole situation with the whole.
I can't hear you, bro. No. I can't hear you, bro. You're can't hear you, bro.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
People in America don't like America, bro. So with that situation, you got people in America that don't like America. You got other countries that don't like America because America's a powerhouse, technically. But America's not honestly a powerhouse any fucking more.
I'm about to say.
America's in debt.
But the debt is all proportionate based on how much you make and based on what was established at the beginning, based off the inflation of the currency at the time. It's all relative, especially if like, okay, so let's say I owe $10 million, but I make $100 million a year versus the country that makes $5 million and owes 4. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So as long as we can operate and put some aside for the next year, that's how America works. After the gold standard, after we went from actual physical valued currency or resources to like the new digital age, you can always. And then they did that again. They made the dollar bill, and then they made the Bitcoin. The Bitcoin is already a dollar bill. It's already a representation of currency. So of course they can always expand it. Just like the metaverse, they're gonna have virtual real estate, and then they're gonna put a cap on the virtual real estate to increase the scarcity, overall increasing the value, and then they're gonna sell off, auction off new available spaces that was always available the whole time. Just like diamonds, you don't sell all the diamonds. You hold the diamonds for 30, 40, 50 years until you get the next batch of diamonds for the next year. Then you put that down like it's LIFO. You know what I'm saying? Last in, first out. I mean, first in, first out type of shit. It's FIFO. That's why he wasn't responding. You over here getting games and everything for everybody. I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
I see what you're doing.
Networking.
Networking. Drop the song. Send her the link.
I'm about to.
All right. Well, look, I'm about to see what's going on with Cap, and then we can do the follow up episode in a little bit.
Bro, you done got me heated on this whole subject.
All right, think about it, cause I got some shit to talk about. I want to see his opinion too. But back to but think of though, it starts with the cultural first. The cultural is I have to go because think about it. This dude had a saying. He's like, any civilization that left the civilization up to the whims of the women got burned, pillaged, and erased from history. Because when it comes time to go take the child molester or the predator or the rapist in the backyard and shoot him, the man's gonna do that and not think about it. The woman's gonna try and like give him a life sentence or something so we can go make bail and go harm somebody else. No, we gotta have it like there's an executioner for a reason. That's somebody's role for a reason. It's not a lot of them, but the one person got to pull the plug. Versus the woman in the race got to show the empathy and the sympathy. Like, okay, the kid's getting his ass whooped. The mom got to stop it, but hey, that's enough. Versus the mom trying to be the one beating.
If you want to take this into the sense of the religion in the Bible, that's what God coming back to. But if you know the deeper meaning of that too, everybody has Christ consciousness within themselves. It's just about them reaching that enlightenment within themselves, but also that level of consciousness.
But that consciousness is passed down biologically. That's what people forget. Your third eye, your third eye, that your higher level chakra. If you believe in chakras and alignment and all that stuff, spirituality, if your third
chakras already open, all third eye, all that stuff is already open.
But I'm saying you got your intuition from your mother and your judgment from your father in your biological makeup. That's your intuition. That little experience that kicks in. That was your parents. That was your parents sending you that little
zodiac signs and then that zodiac chart, all that stuff.
But I'm saying just like from a simple aspect, your parents, when that semen went into the ovary or whatever, there was a little map in the little space shuttle. It's like an intuition, subconscious map that only your parents can give you based off of their experience.
Because I know it's going to be like $2.
All right, Dolo, handle that, bro. I'm gonna get on you. I'm gonna get on the podcast when I get Cap on the phone. All right.